when we're working with facilitators and supervision, it's important to ask, how did the exercise go in group? How are they being aware of their own needs? For example, the opening meditation. For many facilitators, there's a lot of anxiety and nervousness. Are they pacing? Are they slowing down? Is that length? It's a brief meditation, but are they doing it long enough that it's helpful for them? Often some of these skills are new and they need some practice, but are they starting to move from leading an exercise to really embodying it, to really using their pacing and their own experience? If it's shaking and dancing or guided imagery, are they also doing it for themselves? One that's going to help with it fitting in with the group. It's going to feel more authentic and real, and they're going to have something to share from, because their sharing is as important as the group's.
And one thing to add with that too is that it's important to ask about this, because there are times where we can assume that the facilitators are doing the exercises with their group, and it's surprising that isn't always the case. So it's really important to make sure you know that that's happening.
I think of one other thing is the co-facilitator. So if you have two people leading a group together, developing trust that they can give feedback to each other. And it's not advice giving, but encourage them, just like we do in the advanced training. So if Amy's my co-facilitator and she's leading guided imagery, I can share what that was like for me as a participant in the group. And that really helps her understand, how did her exercise work in this group setting for me as an individual.
Yeah. And then we're also teaching about use of self for the facilitator. And so in addition to self-awareness, that use of self is understanding that the facilitator is picking up information all the time, not just in what they're observing or what they're hearing, but actually in what they're feeling. And so the facilitator's restlessness when somebody's sharing may give them information about needing to bring a participant back to focusing on the moment, or needing to move on, or needing a break. And when they feel something, it's teaching them to tune into that and to kind of scan the group and see if it's just them.
Right.
Because there's so much information in that. Same thing with emotion that comes up. So if the facilitator is listening to someone sharing and they find themselves really emotional, it's going to be important to look around and see if that's also happening in the rest of the group, and then to address it, to be able to check in with other people. So you're really teaching them a really deep kind of tracking within themselves.
And I think that part of how to address it is also something to bring into supervision, because there's so many ways. It might be to really name it in a gentle way, or to tie it in with a transition, or just to know that you're the facilitator. You're going to make the decision to do some simple breath or movement, or just how to help everybody feel at ease in the group.
And with the use of self, you're also really helping them tease out what is something that they're picking up versus a reaction to something. And what I mean by that is that if a facilitator has trouble with intense emotion, that what they're picking up in themselves may actually be about their own discomfort with emotion rather than something in the group. So you as the supervisor can listen with your knowledge and expertise and really help unpack that a little bit and help them to explore, what's really happening.
Yeah. And I think this is an area where you can be really supportive to facilitators, because often this awareness comes after the group's done.
Right.
And they're writing the process note, or they're talking to you, and then knowing that there's going to be another opportunity for it to come up in group and them to step in a different way, that they're continuing to grow, and that's right where they should be.